Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to part 12 of the Enterprise TOS build. Today we're actually going to start doing some of the lighting in the actual nacelle, getting the blue light in, the yellow light on the back end of it. Both of those I'm going to have on a separate switch, and then get a negative over to where the Bassard collectors will be wired up, and then glue them together. So let's take a look. Alright, time to work on the nacelles. This one I worked on last night. One of the first things I did, show you on this one, is put a sprue back here, glued it in with the old school model cement because I knew it would really melt in, and since the sprue wasn't perfectly cut, you know, just kind of grinding it to make it fit where I wanted it, it would fill in any of the gaps and really melt it and secure that. And I put a mark where I want the yellow LED to sit, which I pre-resisted and everything. But I'll show you what we did on this one. It's really simple because really all we have is the blue light and the yellow light. But yeah. So I ran a blue wire that'll connect with the blue wire that's going to be the switch to turn this on, and then I ran a yellow wire that'll go attached to the yellow wire that I have on a switch, because I'm going to have both of these on a switch. I thought about maybe just attaching this here and having both of these on a switch, but there's going to be times where I don't want this yellow light on. But it's a neat little, you know, added feature, but most of the time I probably won't even have it on, but it's just cool to have that option. So they need separate power legs, so I have them coming down to meet the pylons. And I just took the negative and went right to the negative of the strip, because all the negatives get tied to ground, you know, together anyway. It's like ground on a, you know, it's like your ground on your electrical in your house. And that way I didn't have to run a black wire all the way over here, because here's the black wire of the strip, and that's going to meet the black wire that comes up, that feeds everything up here. It's going to feed attached to the grounds. They're probably all are negatives. They're probably all going to be attached right in here. And I went with the strip that Gary Hughes gave me. Excuse me. It's not the dual density. It's just a single one, which is more than enough to light this up. It's more than enough. So I'm glad I didn't decide to do that. So I don't want those overly bright. Yeah, so let's just close this back up. So let's get this guy on here. And so let's get our strip down. That's what I did first. Try to line this up. And what I did last time is I put you down. And right about here is where it needs to stop, because all this is just, the grills only go from here to here. Just to give me an idea of the stop point, because that gives me the perfect, it worked last time. I kind of went off that mark and then just went up this way, and it gave me, it centered it perfectly in the nacelle. First, just lightly. Lightly touch it down and see how it stretches across. And it's doing pretty good. And then we got a 10. We'll do the same thing, so we'll 10 the negative there. Drying up already. It's been really dry last night. Let's tin these first. And last time, shows I don't want to breathe that because there is super glue right there that's probably heating up. You definitely don't want to breathe that garbage. But if you wanted to, per his instructions, have these both come on at the same time, you could just actually just attach the yellow lights feeds right to there. But I think now is a good time to super glue that on too before we have to really work on it. Let's get this loose. A spray bottle that sprays way too much. It's like, although dripping it hasn't been giving out too much too, but at least it doesn't spray like my bench and everything else like it normally does when you hit that pump. And I used a different spray. The other one shot it at like a stream. Instead of misting it, it would shoot it like a water hose. Like a squirt bottle that you have on stream. I keep it a little bit away from that terminal, so I run a negative wire so it meets with that negative wire. I'm going extra long just in case. You can always take away. It's more of a pain to add. Trying my solder gun back over here because its cord comes out to the right. When it was over here, it keep hooking with my Dremel, and so I'm trying it back over there again. Really. It's always lifting it over my other arm. Beautiful. Alright. Cut it long enough to have a tail come out the front. Yeah, remember that big piece is on there too. But I think all of it's going to get tied in here. But it's going to have to at least come out here to get tied and then shoved in there. And we'll slide the shrink tube on once we get the wire on here. Get a little slack so we can tack you to the floor. Tin these wire. There you go. And we can super glue that there. And the yellow one will super glue down that way. And the only reason we got to do these little jumpers off of these is because there's no way you want, the pylons have the wires and they probably reach, especially that. But this is going to be closed up. Try to get a little tin on there. Just guesstimate. Don't need much because the pylon's right there. Give us enough to work with, but not too much that we're going to be shoving all this wire back up in here. Just yellow wire for the yellow light. Well, it's more of an amber light, really, which I kind of like. I find these colored yellow ones always look more orangish, amber. I forgot to slide, I can unsolder that. I forgot to slide a piece of shrink tube up on that one. I'm not really happy with that. I don't like when they crisscross. I want them to sit on top of each other. But with this, we definitely don't. Let's accommodate for... I bet you if we pull it right out to there, that'll give us enough to... Yeah. Yep. That'll work. Got little scraps in here to use up. Perfect. That's all we needed. Alright, and then I lied. We do need to use more super glue. Put a little piece over there too, over top, so it actually grabs around the wire. Because what it's doing is it's oozing over and laying flat. Perfect. Now we'll put one more up here. There we go. And that's all there is to it as far as the warp engine lighting and the back tail. So let's make sure we're working. It's weird. I like them to run for a little bit before I close her up. But yeah, it's looking good. Like I said, that gives us more than enough glow. And this will be something like that. And I'll glow that sphere. Like I said, I think I want to put a little bit of a silver tape to blast it a little more at the sphere. Because the sphere is going to be plastic, plus it's going to have, you know, hull color on it. I like to let those run for a while. So that's what I'm going to do, but we're done with this segment of the nacelles until we start doing, well, next would be puttying them and stuff. All this stuff goes on last, pretty much. Well, okay, let's glue up a nacelle. But one thing I know I just thought about, good thing, that I should do is run a red wire for a jumper here as well. For the constant on power that gets sent up here, that'll be for my 4 LEDs that I added to that, and it'll power the little light on top that I'm going to do there. And I don't think it needs to power anything really in the back. That's going to be on switch, and that's going to be on switch. So, but like I said, it's at least going to power, you know, I need constant power for these, unless I put them on a switch leg as well. But I think I have that already tied in. So, what we'll do is, give ourselves a little longer than that. The other piece is about yay big. So that should give us enough like that. And curl down. Yeah, that's good enough. I have a little bit too much. Then I'm thinking we should tack these down. Kind of do this quick. And that's all we'll have to do. This one's easy. This one we're gonna use this way. We're gonna use the old tube glue. I love using the tube glue for pegs. It takes a while for it to cure. So you got time to do this first before you do your outer. Perimeter with the more liquid cement. So this gives you plenty of time to sit here as it's just doing its thing. And I'll run this through the channels. Kind of trying to zigzag it because the needle's smaller than the channel, so I'm kind of trying to zigzag it in there. Sure get these ends really good here. Still got quite a bit of that glue left, and that's really all we need to do. Is just line up these and make sure these are sticking out. And that's it. These nacelles go together good. We got our black and red coming out the front. Got our red, and yellow, and blue going out there. And these nacelles fit together really nice. So real problems with these. And this is my favorite masking tape because it's really sticky. So you can get a good torque on stuff. And you don't need a lot of it to do it. It really sticks. Squeeze the two halves together and press that down. Let's get this side quick. I want to put a little extra glue in there. So there's no channels for that spot. Man, it's not really going to have much of a seam at all. Even if a part's being stubborn, if you squeeze it and get it squeezed together and put this over top one side and then really tight, it'll hold it. Some tapes will start letting loose or never allow you to get that tight. Probably could stick some of that Revell down here. Thinking those are openings, but I think really those black spots are just where the black paint squishing through. There we are, that's it, pretty much. Got our negative and our permanent live wire here, and then they're down here to connect to the pylons, and I should be able to snake the wires up for the multi-wires for the hook to these oranges. And thank God they don't need no resistors, just boom, 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 boom. And then we'll start puttying those seams up so we can start painting. But yeah, I went over to the secondary hull, sanded that putty off, which sanded great. That perfect plastic putty I love. It's hard enough that it sands really well, or you can just wipe it off with water if you're really doing real thin seams. That looks even good. But yeah, I hit all the seams. That's all. I didn't do any putty around these. We just did the thin cement to fill in any little bit of deep cracks, and then I just went over it with the what I use is the Tamiya liquid surface primer, which is brushable. It's a lacquer based, so it dries really quick, so you can do multiple coats if you got a really weird seam you want to cover. But when it's in this thick state, you can brush it on and it fills any fine seams perfectly, and it sands so smooth. And then I like it because it actually seals up the putty too. It'll seal up the putty, but it'll sand so smooth on top of it. With this and that perfect plastic putty, and this is the white, I do have the gray. That's what I used on this. That and the perfect plastic putty, it makes seam work really good. Even the ones where you do want to see a seam, but you want them at least not bumpy and gappy in one spot. And I may hit that a little more there because there was a hole there. Even though I keep putting this in there, it still kept. But now that I got this lacquer primer on there, it'll fill in, so I can just do one more brush and probably do that good. But the seams look like seams, but they look, you know, nice now. And I might hit a little there. Oh, this looks good. Around the neck looks great. The perfect plastic putty sanded so easily and smooth. And then I just took this, got surface primer, and brushed it around there. And then we'll hit it with a light sand. It'll be perfect. But it also, like I said, I hope it seals that putty as well. Especially if you have like a putty that will fix all that seam work there. I might hit it right there. I see a little bubble or something. There was a bubble there and it sunk in a little bit. But it cleaned up all that there. So we'll hit another coat on this half. We'll sand it and blend it in. But yeah, it's great. You know, especially if you have a putty that's like very absorbent, like I think even the red spot putty is. Like your first coat, it absorbs right into it and it just looks like this clay pot that was sprayed. So this will seal that up. But this is coming out good. I'm very happy. But until next time, I just wanted to show you that. I did the other one, so we're in good standing. We'll let those dry till tomorrow, and then tomorrow I'll probably or maybe later on. No, I want to let them sit overnight. I'll put some primer on it, or we'll put some putty in it. We'll sand the plastic first. I like to always sand this plastic first with like 320 to get that level. And then we're only asking the putty to fill any gaps. That perfect plastic putty dries pretty quick. I might even be able to get to the pylons as well. All in one shot would be great. And then let them set. I can work on the Enterprise bridge for a bit. Well, I let them sit for a day. But thanks for watching, and until the next episode, see you soon.